good morning. Thanks for joining me again on my channel. Today off to do some more work on my Series 1 as our series on rebuilding my Land Rover Series 1 continues. Last week I was busy putting the engine together, getting all the bits and pieces, finalizing that so that I could actually try and start it. So I finished that whole exercise. I put everything together, put all the parts together. It took me a little bit longer than I thought, but I got everything together. One of the things was to put the sump on, or to take the sump off and then to paint it and to put it back on again. So I did that. It was good to take it off and everything looked alright when I took it off. There was a little bit of some sludge in the bottom, a bit of old oil, but nothing to worry about, and everything looked clean. I didn't find any bits of metal or anything like that, which is a good sign. So happy that we did that. So that's ready. I put that back on, painted it up, and everything's looking nice and ready to go. So what I'll do is we're going to put the engine on to the chassis. That's going to be the best way to hold it down while we try to start it. So the chassis is ready to take it. So I just need to take it and we'll need to move it and then fit it on. I've got the mountings and everything, so we'll just put it in place and then we'll try to start it. We're just going to keep it basic. I mean, I don't have a fuel tank installed and ignition and all of that stuff, so we're just going to put the engine on. We'll connect some fuel up, put the starter motor on, connect it up to a battery, and give it a crank, and let's see if it starts up. If it starts up, it's going to be good, and if it sounds alright, it's going to be good. If it doesn't, well, then I'm going to have to take it apart properly and do a proper rebuild on it or investigate everything. But I'm not expecting any problems. I've reconditioned the distributor, fixed up and replaced the water pump and checked all of that, so that's all looking good. I also replaced and cleaned up the thermostat, so that's looking fine. We put a new carburettor on, we've got a new fuel pump on, so all of those parts are looking good, so I don't think there'll be any problem, and the engine turned fine, everything looked good, so I think we're going to be alright with that. On my way this morning, I just need to still get one little part. So unfortunately, one of the studs that I used to tighten the carburettor onto the inlet manifold, I had the two studs that I had were a little bit too short, so I need to actually get a longer studs. I managed to find one in all of the boxes in the garage, but there's still one missing. So what I'm doing is I'm just popping into Rob Liemers and see if they can help me with the right stud for that. So I just need that one stud. Hopefully I can get that. We managed to get the right part, and so that's the one that I had, and then yeah, they had another one, so it's exactly the same, so that's perfect. So we all sorted out, ready to roll, so let's get this show on the road. tricky getting this carb on here. It's taken about an hour to put this thing on because I had to modify this a little bit because the studs that I had, they were a little bit too long, because what we've done is we've machined this top piece down a little bit because this carb is going to be a little bit too high for the bonnet, because it's a 2 1/4 that I'm putting into a Series 1, where the bonnet is a little bit lower, and so if I machine this carb a little bit lower down, it's going to fit under the bonnet a little bit easier, and I won't have to make such a big modification on the top here for the air pipe. So that was a bit of a trick to do that, and then the studs were too long, so I actually just cut them off and cut a little piece off, but it's all fitted on here now, so it's fitted on and getting it tight. Now just to tighten this nut at the back here is a real tricky one. It's so tight and you can't get the spanner in there, so I've got a slightly thinner spanner to try and get that tightened. That's ground's going into there. So when we twiddle this thing, we'll need a spinner just to loosen that tightness. Finally, it was time to try and start the engine. We got a couple of wires together just to hook up the electrics and the coil and check that we had a spark, and then we were ready to turn it over. It wanted to go and was starting, but wouldn't carry on going. There was enough fuel and that was coming through, but then we worked out that the earth wasn't permanently connected, so every time we disconnected the starter, it just stopped. So once we sorted that out, she fired up. What a pleasure to hear that engine roar back to life. Fantastic. If you enjoyed that, then please give us a thumbs up. In the next episode, I'll take a step back and have a look at the chassis and the firewall and see what I had to do to get that back up to scratch.